if you're on the session, whether you're new or one of my regulars, good afternoon, good Friday. It is non-farm. Do drop a message and say hi. Let me know that you're on. Let me know that you're ready to get going. You can feel free to put a message into the chat. Let me know if you have any questions. And like I was saying, do remember to click that like and subscribe. And if you haven't already, the link for the Discord group is in the description, so you'll make sure you join us on Discord as well. Okay. Good afternoon, Haider. How have you been? Markets have been relatively quiet today, possibly having a bit of a breather after what we've seen over the last couple of days. But I am anticipating a little bit more volatility heading later tonight with the non-farms, for the US non-farms to be released. Okay, with that said, a quick disclaimer: any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. The contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product. So please remember that your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Now, that said, take that away. God. All right. Hey, Linley, how are you doing? Hope you're well. Linley was earlier today telling us about how he hit, I think, 90 pips on the US yen. I did have a trade on the US yen from last night as well. I think that was about 150 pips to the downside. So it took a lot longer than I expected, but it was moving well. So I left that running overnight. This morning hit 150. If you have any trades, or if you got into any trades and you'd like to share them, do put it into the chat and let me know as well. Okay. Haider, I'm doing great. I'm feeling a lot better. Making pips, take profits and pips really do help a person recover better and feel a lot better as well, right? Hey, in your case, good morning. Hope you're well. Alrighty. So what has happened since the last time we spoke? First up, at 7 p.m. GMT plus 8 yesterday, we had, as we expected, the Bank of England with their interest rate decision, the BOE with their interest rate decision, taking interest rates down from a 5.25% to a 5%, a 25 basis point rate cut from the BOE. What we did see following that, well, before that major news, we were talking about this during our session where it pushed down from 1.28, almost 1.2848 down. This was at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock continued, 4 o'clock continued down, 5 o'clock got to as low as 1.2754. I'll zoom in a little bit just to show you guys. Right, it pushed all the way down, way outside of the Bollinger Band, came right back in at 6, and at 7, you probably have that question. At 7, why, despite a rate cut of 25 basis points, not 25%, 25 basis points, did we see the pound dollar shoot down and then shoot right up? So it pushed all the way up to as high as 1.2840 before coming right back down again. Okay, so firstly, two reasons I can think of to explain why the pound dollar went right back up before coming back down again is that there was a front running. There was a front running of the news, which we saw it drop a good 93 pips to the downside before the news, right? So front running outside the Bollinger Band, probably closed out to take some profit and pushed it right back up. That's the first idea of why we saw the pound dollar push back up, a front running of the news. Second reason is that you see the voting, right? The voting was a 027. You were expecting a 063. which means 6 members voting to cut rates with 4 members voting to hold rates at the current level. What we did end up getting was a 0.54, 5 members voting to cut, 4 members voting to hold. So we were quite at the borderline. It was almost, we were 1 member away from not having a rate cut decision. We were 1 member away from rates staying at 5.25%. And for those of you who stayed on the stream after the market analysis yesterday, as I was looking at the pound dollar drop through the next couple of hours after our daily market analysis, I put it into the chat. I'm like, the way it's dropping made me think about maybe what if the BOE doesn't cut rates? What if they kept it at 5.25? So it was really quite borderline decision that led to a rate cut. And because of this borderline, you can consider as a bit of uncertainty for that rate cut. We saw the pound dollar push back up, right? We saw it push back up because of the uncertainty in the I can't find the word, I can't think of the word right now, but not everyone's convinced that they were supposed to cut rates or they were going to cut rates. So we saw this push right back up, but overall decision was still a rate cut, and that's why we saw the pound dollar push right back down. This actually would have presented many of you with an opportunity, because we were looking at selling at 1.2770. Take that away. As it pushed up, it would have given you that chance once it comes back down to sell at that point to push down that 65. It didn't get to 65. You could have got out at about 50 pips to the downside. Okay, so that was what happened, and a brief explanation about the Bank of England's interest rate decision and the way they voted. Any questions on that? All good? Put it into the chat, let me know. If it's all good, if there's questions, let me know. If not, let me know as well. Okay. Then while you do that, if you have any questions, put it in. But while you're typing that up, Governor Bailey spoke about the rate cut decision. So it's actually 3 reasons, right? One other reason that we saw the pound dollar push up right after the cut, right? And this continued on 7 through to 8 through to 9 o'clock, couple of hours after the cut, because at 7:30 when he spoke, he said, so it's a close call. Where was it? There was, I'm not going to watch that. There was a couple of headliners that I wanted to share. Where was the headline? Let me find it, sorry. I was finely balanced. Okay. This is not from Governor Bailey, but Hill said we're not committing to further rate cuts, not committing to further interest rate cuts. And Governor Bailey said would caution against the view that the BOE would cut rates continually in successive meetings from here. Sounds like a very similar approach compared to the BOJ, just that BOJ is hiking rates, BOE is cutting rates. So they've cut the first time, but they're saying it's not the case where we've cut now and we're going to continue cutting, right? So that's why we've seen a bit of a lack of commitment. This was borderline, and the lack of commitment for further cuts, and that's why we saw the pound dollar push up right after that news decision. Okay, then following on from that, we had The US unemployment claims, you can see here, was 235, expected 236, came out at 249. If you remember that JOLTS, jobs openings, was 814, revised up to 823, expected a small move, came out at 818, not a huge move, but just a little bit better than expected. And then ADP came out weaker. It was 150, revised up to 155, came out at 122. So while ADP came out lower at 122, not a direct correlation to the NFP, the unemployment claims came out at 249, higher than expected, higher than previous. So straight away, remember that in the morning here on Thursday morning, Chair Powell was saying that there is a downside risk on employment, and that's why the Fed Reserve is likely to look at rate cuts to kind of prop it up a little bit in the coming meetings, right? So we are looking at weakness, some weakness in the employment front, in the employment data. Then continuing on from that, at 10 p.m. we saw manufacturing PMI for the US was 48.5, came out at a 46.8, so still in that contractionary phase, and even more so, well, accelerating in that contractionary phase, right? What we saw as a result of that at 10, right, we saw the dollar push up through the afternoon, and then it started pushing right back down as the pound dollar gained some strength, and then we saw this push right back up again. So it's still holding that 61.8 level. I'll put a line there as well. Okay. So that level is still holding on the dollar index. Now, with all that said and done, we had a whole bunch of news, didn't do too much, not too worried about these news events all the way. And I've been sitting here, we've been streaming live since 5 hours ago. I haven't had any trade. I haven't not had any trade. I was clicking away, looking at possible setups, couldn't find anything. Most of the pairs was sitting in a bit of a consolidation. It's only starting to move a little bit now, but it's not really forming any setups at this point. I feel that it is all waiting, because the focus, as much as for the US, the focus is now shifting towards employment, especially after the Fed Reserve talked about the possible downside risk on employment, right? So because of that, it looks like markets are sitting in consolidation, waiting for this news. Non-farm employment change was 206K, expected 176. What is your best guess? Put it into the chat. Let me know what is your best guess. I want to see. Okay, it's not working on a Q&A. Q&A is a bit, some function I'm trying out. But what's your best guess for NFP? Put it into the chat. I want to know what do you guys think. It's also to get a bit of a feel of where the small market, where sample size of what the market thinks the NFP is going to be. Put it into the chat and let me know, then I'll tell you what I think it could be. NFP is a bit of a guess and a stab in the dark, so put it in and let me know what do you think. Haida has 165 and a 4.2 unemployment, okay? So 165, so a weaker non-farm employment change number and a increase in unemployment. That's going to be interesting. right? Unemployment rate has gone up in July. It did go up in July. It was a 4% in July, ran up to a 4.1, and you can see that it's been steadily increasing over the last 3 months, from 3.8 to 3.9 to 4 to 4.1. I can't remember what, off the top of my head, I can't remember what's the natural rate of unemployment for the US. I'm kind of recalling about 4.5, 4.3 or 4.5. So maybe we're heading towards natural unemployment. Okay, so what I actually think is that we might see, I'm not as dovish as what you're thinking. I'm thinking that we might see unemployment stay at 4.1, but non-farm employment change. I'm definitely thinking a lower number. I'm thinking even 155. Right? I'm thinking 155. Please, disclaimer applies. This is my guess. I get it right sometimes. I get it right. I get it right sometimes. I get it wrong most of the time. It's really hard to try and guess what a number is going to be. But I'm thinking 155. I'm thinking a weaker number. So with that said, then we'll look at the charts on the dollar index. Okay, right now it is sitting, oh, that's done. We've seen that move. Right now it's sitting at 104.30. We've got the news coming out. Right, we've got the news coming out. Let me see. I don't think, or it definitely needs to stay below this point to maintain, and we have 104 as a round number right there. Okay, let me just check one point more. With that, we've seen it bounce, I think, at the 38.2 level, which is right there. So it's stuck within this range. If we see a weaker number, what we're probably looking for on the dollar index would be a test and reject back down. That's what I'll be looking for. So today being the 2nd of August, dollar index, this is, oops, NFP pending, right? Dollar index, what we're possibly looking for is, could see weaker NFP, DXY to retest 104.45, reject to trade down to 104 round number. There we go. All right, so thinking that for now, it might push back up slightly, retest this 104.45 level, reject and push back down towards that 104 level. I don't think that we would see that big downside unless it comes out a lot significantly below 155. All right, I'm thinking 155K. If we think that it is, could trade down to 103.65 if less than 155K. That, again, this is my guess. This is, planning that scenario. could, if it pushes up, then switch the buyers quickly as well. Okay. Now with that, then look at the pound dollar breaking lower. Okay, with that, then looking at the Kiwi, it did exactly what we thought. It consolidated before pushing up to that resistance, but failed to break that resistance. So we take that away for now, as it failed to break that resistance and came back down. It's getting interesting because it's getting interesting because it looks like it's trying to form a bit of a dollar strength scenario, right? We have 38.2 where it bounced off, now looking like it's coming back down again because of that dollar strength. Oh wait, I'll add in here as well is that if it breaks, no, I don't think it will. Okay. I was going to say that if it breaks that 61.8, we could see it retest 104.85, which is where I'm thinking in a dollar strength scenario, this could happen because of that big downward move on the Kiwi. All right, so if you look at this move down, the Kiwi, from this move down, it retraced back up to that 50%, and then it's pushed back down again. So I would actually be thinking of this if the dollar strengthens. If the dollar strengthens, we could be looking at 5910, stop loss tight 15 pips, take profit down 45, dollar strength scenario. Okay, 5910. So we look at this in the sell at 0.5910, stop loss 15, take profit 45 on DXY strength scenario. There we go, and that's in that scenario. As it retraces, breaking that 38.2, we could see break the support to the downside. Okay, then onto the Aussie, like we said yesterday, came down, tested this level, bounced back up. Take that away for now, as it bounces. It's just a bit odd that we're seeing that it's not a big push on the dollar, but yet we're seeing quite a big move here on both the Aussie and the Kiwi. It is a snapshot of the current move. What I want to possibly try and find on the Aussie would be for it to come down, test, and bounce off this support level, which means that I'll be looking at 6480, 20 pip stop, back up 80 pips to the upside. So between now till 8:30 p.m. we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 hours to go, looking for this to push down steadily, bounce, and push back up. Okay, 6480. Let me see, is that reasonable? We're looking for a 40 pip move. I think it might be stretching it, but it's still possible. 6480, 20 to 80 to the upside. So we saw that reaction, we saw that bounce. We're looking to buy at 0.6480, stop loss 20, take profit 80 to the upside on DXY weakness. That's fine. I'm just thinking maybe it won't drop that much. Maybe it could just come down to 6.5 again. So you might be looking at that instead. So 6.5. So thinking of that bounce. 6.505 20 to 60. I think that'd be more realistic. 6.505 20 to 60. 6.505 20 to 60. Okay. Then on to the US yen. Well, I was super happy with this. I was super happy with this. Sat there, waited for the yen. Right after our stream, I thought, hey, it looks like I was going to push down, but then I'll show you this. This was right after our stream at 4 yesterday. It was still pushing to the upside. It was trying to curve down. I thought it's a little bit early. Let's wait for it. Was thinking to get ready to sell. Didn't break lower. I didn't cross over to the downside. It pushed up as we had drawn to test that 38.2 level and reject as it was pushing back down, and the hour closed. This was at 9 yesterday. As the hour closed, I got into that trade, set my 65, and in fact I actually had it at 50. Right, I had it a little bit nearer, and then after that it pushed all the way down. This morning closed out at 50 pips at that 149 level, right? Just above that, slightly above that 149, 150 to the downside on the US yen. Very happy with that. I know a couple of you did get onto the yen as well. Super happy with that. Now after that, the reaction here, this was what I was thinking before through today, where if it does break below this 149 level, we could look to sell it down, but take that away for now. What's forming looks like a double bottom. Right, what's forming looks like a double bottom on the US yen. Like I was sharing with you yesterday on H4, you can see that pin bar at that 149 level is pushed up, it's come back down, it's still sitting at that 149 level, a bit undecided, but we're forming two tails. We've formed 2 or 3 tails at that 149 level. There is that chance to buy it back up, right? There is that chance to buy it back up, but I think that if you wanted to get in, let me think. I'm trying to think of where you would buy it back up. It's right at that point. I feel that it's too near to confirm a double bottom, especially with the non-farm to be released shortly in 5 hours. I would say that you could look to buy it up above 149.50, above that 38.2 level on a double bottom. So 149.70, you don't put your stop loss all the way down there. Your stop loss would be about 50 pips, right? Your take profit right up there would be 130. You could go all the way up to 200, 220 to the upside that way. So that's a double bottom to buy it up. If it breaks above this point, to trade it up to that next resistance with a hesitation at 38.2 there. And 50 is right up to this 152 level. Then the alternate scenario, this is dollar strength. The alternate scenario, which I would actually prefer, would be for it to trade down 148.40, stop loss 50, take profit 2, you got 210, but I don't, no, I'll close out even before 210. You'd have a level there. Just because it's heading so much to the downside, I would be a bit more cautious with that downside move. And you see that the last time we got to this point was in March, right? So a couple of months ago. So we're seeing that on the dollar yen. Break that support to the downside. If it breaks this, then we'll see it head down. If it comes to this point, it's 100. Okay. So that's what I'll be looking at. Which one do I prefer? I'd say that you have the opportunity for both. And where was that last one? You see that we had this, and then it formed a bit of a double bottom. It pushed up slightly before coming right back down. So I'm kind of expecting that same move, that one there. So I had a bit of a double bottom, two tails. It pushed up briefly before coming right back down. So as much as that's possible to bounce, I still look for that downside move. Okay, 148.40. So we had that retracement to sell down. We've done that. We'll be looking to sell at 148.40. Stop loss of 50. Take profit of, oops. Stop loss of 50. Take profit of 210. 210 with a hesitation at 147.30. 147.30, right? Or you'll be looking to buy at 149.70, 149.75, 50 to 220. 140. Wait, 149.75. 149.75. Stop loss 50. Take profit 220. This is a double bottom. Okay, well, that's done. See a dollar retracing back slightly right now. That's sitting there. Pound, dollar. We've done with that news, take that away. We've done with that, take that away. We've got too many dotted lines here. 61.8 is broken. We don't need that. I don't need that for now. But that swing level is relevant. We'll keep that. Okay. So that one is there. Broken. You know, that's why I'm looking at the charts. I'm looking at the way prices are moving. And as much as I would like to think of that dollar weakness scenario, I just don't see that coming out. I actually do see a little price action wise. it seems like we're seeing a bit more dollar strength scenarios to play out later today. Right, so that one's done. That's the next level. Below that would be down here. Don't need that. My support is there, which is this whole area. There we go. Okay. So yes, pound dollar is pushing down because of the pound rates from yesterday. Looks like it's hung over, looks like it might break lower. But how much lower can it go? What you probably want to do, and this might be a before the news trade, is if it breaks below 1.27, it's right at a round number. If it breaks below 1.27, so 1.2690, you're looking at a 20 pip stop loss. You got a 30 pip take profit. You have a 70 move to the downside. And that might be a good place for the dollar to bounce off. Right? Trade down, bounce off the support, back up again. If we see that dollar weakness comes back into play. So that would be a kind of setup before the news. 1.2690, 20 to 70 to the downside. You want to get out of this before the news, or if you're in some profit, make sure you secure your profits and see what happens at that support level. Okay, 1.2690, 1.2690, stop loss 20, take profit 70 to the downside. Okay, then onto the euro, it pushed down. If you got onto that before the news yesterday, as the dollar was finding its direction, you would have gone up and hit your stop loss. This would have been a stop loss trade of 20 pips as it bounced around in this area, right? As it bounced around this 108 level. It's still sitting in this consolidation. Let's check H4 on this. That 50 is done, so let's take 50 away. And I like how it's reacting. That's why I want to check H4. It's because this 61.8, and you see on H4, it's been sitting just above this point. So now back to the H1, we might see it consolidate along this point a little bit further. Then from here, if we look at that, we might see it push back up only if it breaks above 1.08. Right? It's still sitting this. I wouldn't do anything along this point. If it breaks above 1.08 on a dollar weakness scenario, 1.0830, no, 1.085. This is a bit risky though. I like this point. I would say 1.0830. I think that if it can push up, you'll see that momentum hold it up. So 1.084, you would have a 30 pip stop. And you might see it retrace quite significantly off this point back up. No, I don't like it. I think it's going to bounce. I just don't see how it's going to push all the way back up. It's gone up. It's testing 61.8. It's bouncing. I would say that if you wanted to take a bit of risk, 1.0825. Stop loss tight, 20 pips. Take profit. You have a 60 pip move to the upside. While it's sitting in that consolidation right now. That's what I would look out for. Hey Jamil, how are you doing? That's good. 1.0825. 1.0825, 20 to 60 to the upside. Buy at 1.0825. Stop loss 20. Take profit 60. This is on DXY weakness. Okay, this is a bit of a pre-news trade. It might just form here and bounce as well. It might just sit here and bounce off. But I wouldn't be buying it up at this point. I'll probably prefer the euro dollar. Then onto the Sweezy, it broke down. It broke down from this support level, now turned resistance. And this is where you have to be very careful today, especially today, because a lot of pairs are breaking levels that we're seen in March. Remember, we're in August now. We're getting past levels that we're seeing in March, right? So we could see a little bit of a stronger retrace, and then after that, a continuation. So with that, I would actually be looking at this as a dollar weakness scenario, but thinking that it could push up, test, and reject. Then I'll be looking at below 8740, stop loss 20. I don't think we're going to go 90 pips. I don't think we're going to go 90. I think we have something there. Push back up to that point. Okay. And that's possibly what I'll be looking at. Big news. Yes, big news, Jamil. Okay. Yep, I'll be looking for that. If not, then no trade, but I'll be looking for that. 8740, 20 to 60 to the downside. We've got a good mix of setups here. 0.8740, stop loss 20, take profit 60 to the downside. And then onto the USCAD. We've seen that, so we talked about it pushing up in this area and then finally up there. Take those away. Trend line is holding. Loonie is still pushing to the upside. Again, if I show it to you on the daily, just to highlight this point, is that there you go. Is that since October 22, it's reversed from this point. Came close in March 23, again in October 23. Now we're in August 24, and it's approaching this point again. So what I would be looking for here on the US CAD. Why did it suddenly disappear? What I'm looking for, oops, now it came back. Here on the US CAD is that, check the weekly. What's on a weekly? It's pushed up, it's pushed up. We do see a bit of an upside potential. The next level is right up there. This was in 2020. If it breaks past this point, yes, but we saw a lot of that dollar strength to push that up. So I would actually still be looking at a now pushing up, but I'm looking for a test and reject on dollar weakness to push this back down. We don't have CAD employment numbers today, so to push this back down, I'll be looking at 1.3885, stop loss 20, take profit 45. To the downside to that trend line will be 60. And that's what I'll be looking for. Test and reject to push back down. It is showing a bit of an upside, but we're looking for a test and reject. So 1.0885, 20 to 60 to the downside on dollar weakness. Right? Sell at 1.38, what was it again? 1.3885, 20 to 60. 1.3885, stop loss 20, take profit 60 on DXY weakness. Okay. All good so far. Do put it to the chat and let me know if you have any queries. Then I just want to check that. No, that's still sitting there. Okay. Then on to gold, moved exactly as we had anticipated, where we were looking for it to retrace down to 24.30 and rebound up to 24.50 and possibly to 24.80. It did retrace right down to 24.30. Test, rebound right back up to 24.50 or 24.50, and then retrace again and push up to as high as 24.67. Jamil is looking at 2,500 right now on gold. Okay, so we've done that. Take those away. I would like to see a reaction at 24.80. That's my resistance turned support. We have a trend line. We have a trend line this way. Test and rebound. I don't see, might not be huge. I know you got it on 24.50. No, I think that I'm looking at this as a test and rebound to 24.80. I'm looking at 24.80. Hey, Valatos, how are you doing? Good to have you with us. 24.50. Retest 24.80, 24.50. Okay, so again, could retrace to test 24.50 and then rebound bound to 24.80. Okay. Dollar retracing now of that near-term level. So that's still good. Now again, Kiwi still sitting there. Aussie dollar still sitting, not doing too much. US yen pushing up slightly. Finding that one, we know that it is testing a critical support at 149. Pound, euro seems to be pushing up slightly. That's all good. Now with all that said, then, hey Audrey, pound CAD? Yeah, sure, we can look at pound CAD. Where am I? Pound CAD. It's been a while since we looked at pound CAD. Let me take all that away. Now we have a level down here, which is a good strong support. It's been pushing up strongly, and wow, it's a bit, we know we have a resistance up here, but that's a good distance away. We have another one about here. That's a good resistance. And then below, so that's holding right across. So that's a critical support, 1.76. Below that, we would have the next point about this level down here, 1.75. Okay, so now looking at this, it's pushing down, Bollinger, it's retracing slightly. It's following the movements. Right now, it looks like it's following the movements on the pound dollar as it pushed down and it's retracing slightly. CAD is right near the top. It could go higher, but it feels a little bit topish. So back to the pound CAD again. If the pound continues to push lower, then we're going to see this break that support. You want to see that break the support, and if the CAD does test that resistance and push back down, we could see this break. The main thing here would be to look for the reaction at 1.76. If it breaks, you're looking at 1.7580. Stop loss, no, too far. 1.7590, stop loss 25 or 30. You take profit, you're looking at a good 80 pips to the downside. But you want to see a reaction at this 1.760 level. All right. Hope I answered your question there, Audrey. Then with that all said, looking into next week as well, we do have, you're most welcome there, Audrey. Well, not much on Monday, PMI numbers, Australia on a bank holiday for some bank holiday, okay. I don't know what's this bank holiday. Okay. On Tuesday next week, we do have the RBA with their rate decision. Fortunately, with the CPI this week, it doesn't look like the RBA is going to be forced to hike rates. There is talk that forget RBA hikes, market now pricing in 3 interest rate cuts by Christmas 2025, 1 year, 2025. Okay, so talking about that on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have employment numbers to come for the Kiwi early at 6:45 a.m. Again, for the Aussie and the Kiwi on Thursday, and then on Friday, Canadian employment numbers. So looks like we had a big week this week. Next week might be a little bit slower, but a slower news week would give you better trend, likely to give you better trending scenarios. So we look forward to that as well. Okay, so please, if you are trading the non-farm employment change number tonight, please trade well, trade safe. If there is a move, yes, trade it. If the move doesn't fit what you're expecting, don't force that trade out. You cannot force the markets. The markets will move as it moves. With all that said, please have a great weekend ahead. Fantastic trading on the non-farm payrolls. Have a great weekend ahead. I'll see you all on Monday next week. If you haven't already, do remember to click that like and subscribe button. I'll keep the stream running for a little while more. I don't see much moves happening on the charts, so might not run the stream for too much longer. And with all that said, take care. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Linley. Take care now.